Top performer of the week. I think it's definitely got to be Glenn Maxwell. This guy, he had not scored a 50 for a while, and now he's stepped up this tournament. He's just killed it for the RCB. And, with not only Maxwell and RCB, they've got, of course, ABD, Kohli. So, this is an explosive team and a very fun team to watch. And on their day, they will ruin every team.
But what about your KKR? What's happening with your KKR? Gautam and Sahil.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Straight Bat Show with Gulf News and Mr. Cricket UAE. This is Gautam of Gulf News. With me, I've got my senior colleague, Shyam Krishna. And of course, apart from Anis, we have got Mobin Aga, one of our proud winners of the jacket, which you need to just win and predict the winner and win one of these lovely jackets on our social media platform. And of course, Sahil Sajan, who had been a regular in our shows. Before we start, I would like to ask Anis to take us through a bit about this contest, which has been and the kind of response that it had been generating.
Hello, beautiful people of the Gulf News community. Every day you have a contest on the Gulf News page. Predict the winner of the match on that particular day, and you walk away with this beautiful jacket. Rather, 2 winners win this beautiful jacket and 3 months of subscription. So make sure to log on to your favorite page, gulfnews.com, every day and win this exciting prizes. Gautam.
Thank you so much. Of course, two games, two tall scoring games. In fact, for a change, Chennai has also saw a high scoring game today. So I'll come back to Anis. So Bangalore, I mean, they have never had as good a start as before, 3 wins out of 3. So what do you make out of it? I mean, there's still a long way to go. I mean, sometimes teams are flattered to deceive. What do you think?
Well, honestly, when I saw Virat Kohli winning the toss and deciding to bat, I was quite happy because the curators, rather the specialist, had said that it's going to be a dry wicket. And the moment the mystery spinner Varun Chakravarti got 2 wickets, I felt that the decision has backfired. But the mistake made by Owen Morgan that he did not continue with Varun Chakravarti. He just gave 1 over and brought him after 6 overs. And by that time, Maxwell was set. And when Maxwell gets set, he's the showman, as they say. And in the end, you had to just watch and admire the innings of the great 360-degree players, AB de Villiers, who made batting look simple on this dry wicket so easy that they ended up scoring a mammoth total of 200.
Yeah. Sham, what's your take? Bangalore, I know, is one of your favorite teams. So what do you make of it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say favorite. Yes, I mean, they're favorites to make the knockout, but still, I would say that they're not. Okay, you could say they won 3 games. I mean, all the games actually, all the 3 games. But still, it's not as dominating as I would expect. But this was indeed a top-notch performance today.
Right. Well, quickly moving on to the second game. If we get time, we'll of course come back to the Bangalore show once more. Mobin, Delhi Capitals, they had a hiccup in the previous game, but today they showed how to chase a big target on helpful batting conditions. And of course, Shikhar Dhawan seems to be getting better with the age. What do you make of it?
Well, Punjab should have scored more than 200 runs. They were at least batting at around 11 runs per over. And without a loss, they had scored a century. According to me, they should have scored at least around 225. Pulling them down to 195 by Delhi Capitals, that was a good bowling performance from them. And then the batting of Shikhar Dhawan.
Right. Sahil, I'll come to you. This Punjab, they often had this issue in the past. I mean, they've got nearly 200, 190 plus runs, but they've failed to defend. So do you see something like this again coming back to kind of haunt them this season?
Honestly, yes, because now they've introduced 2 new bowlers to the IPL, Jai Richardson and Riley Meredith. They're new to this contest. Yes, they have done well for for Australia. Jai Richardson has done well for Australia, and Riley Meredith has also done well in the Big Bash. But this is a completely different league. The IPL is a much tougher league. So yes, I think Punjab will still struggle towards the end of the IPL. And also today, not only them, even Mohammad Shami had a terrible day in the office. So I see Punjab struggling.
Right. But Anis, the thing is, today both these matches, the four teams on display, they kind of showed the standard to which the IPL can generally go. Tall scoring games. But then again, KKR seems to be getting into that war. Something is getting wrong after initial start of one game only. So how do you explain it really?
Well, first, let me talk about the KKR versus RCB game. Not all is looking rosy in their camp. If you must have realized in the last year, in the middle of the tournament, they switched the captainship to Owen Morgan. And they thought that things might change, but unfortunately, KKR missed the boat. They were almost there to make the knockoff, but the last game, Sunrisers won. If you talk about this year, I'm afraid after winning the first game, the second game against Mumbai, which they should have won, they tried to play the Gango style of England cricket, and that actually cost them that game, because at one stage they required an average of probably 6 or 6.5, which you mentioned yesterday. And today again, Owen Morgan, as I said, missed the trick by not getting Varun Chakravarti. So probably they are still not able to plan what exactly they need to do. And as you said, they look good on paper, but they're not able to execute. So worrying sign. And for Punjab, I'm afraid, like Sahil mentioned, the two new bowlers, the Australian fast bowlers, they are not able to hit the right length. And now they're going to go to Chennai, and I'm not sure whether they have any good spinner apart from Bishnoi to do the tricks.
Yeah, Sham, if you watch the second game, you see they tried Punjab. Jalaj Saxena. Now this player had been apparently doing quite well at the domestic level for MP. So Jalaj and Deepak Huda, another part-time spinner for your spinners. I mean, when you had Ravi Bishnoi, when you had Murugan Ashwin, what kind of a gamble was that, Sham? I mean, were they looking for that extra batting or what?
Actually, I was quite surprised they're not playing Ravi Bishnoi, because Ravi Bishnoi played all the games last season.
Yeah, and did well. Did well.
Yeah, exactly. And I was sort of quite surprised why he didn't play up till now. Maybe we'll see more of him in, like Anis Bhai said, with more of that in maybe in Chennai. But right here, even here, I would have expected him to play. Okay, if you wanted but again, Jalaj Saxena, you said he's maybe MP player. Jalaj now plays for Kerala, and yes, he's got a tremendous domestic record. But IPL is a different ball game. Also, not just that today's game, the way the Delhi were dominating, I don't think any the bowlers would matter actually. The way actually Shikhar Dhawan was toying the bowling, you could bowl anywhere and he could put it anywhere he wanted. So I think today, irrespective of the bowler, he was just on top. So, but coming to yours, the question about the spinners, I would have expected at least Gautam or Ravi Bishnoi. If they don't want to play Gautam, they should have played Ravi Bishnoi. I was actually surprised.
Right. Sahil, you see, we have crossed the first week of IPL. Just randomly, who do you think who would be your star performer of the week?
Star performer of the week. I think it's definitely got to be Glenn Maxwell. This guy, he had not scored a 50 for a while, and now he's stepped up this tournament. He's just killed it for the RCB. And, with not only Maxwell and RCB, they've got, of course, ABD, Kohli. So, this is an explosive team and a very fun team to watch. And on their day, they will ruin every team.
But what about your KKR? What's happening with your KKR? Gautam and Sahil, what has happened to your team? KKR, when are they going to pull up their socks?
I feel so KKR is not a good team, and I don't think they'll make it.
It's difficult. See, this year the team looked better on paper because of some balance which they managed to add with Saqib Al Hasan coming. But ultimately, you got to deliver. So so far I don't see that in them. I mean, they are losing steam with each match. I hope they are able to come back in the next one. And just because it's time of taking stock after about the first week, I would also like to ask you, who's your star performer instead of taking it match by match?
I mean to say, as an individual or a team?
As an individual, who you think caught the eye or made the difference? I think Sahil had a very good choice in Glenn Maxwell. It's difficult to look beyond it. I
endorse what Sahil says, because from the game one against Mumbai, he looked in good touch. And he made a very big statement that he's given a role by RCB and he's able to play according to that role. And when a team gives a role, now I'm glad you asked me this question. We are talking about Glenn Maxwell, but whether we talk about Punjab or whether we talk about KKR, they have solid players. So when you have solid players, you have to make sure that you give them roles. I remember talking to Stephen Fleming. Sorry, I'm taking a bit long, but I need to say
No,
this.
no,
Because
these are good
Stephen Fleming,
inputs. Yeah.
Stephen Fleming, we all know he's one of the finest coaches in the world around. And I always asked him that, how do you select his teams? He said, when we select teams, we select players and define them roles. That X player has been taken for this role, Y player has been taken for this role. And that role has been given to them. And if they execute well, if they do not execute, you can't do anything about it. But everybody is given a role and they need to make sure that they execute. And the problem with Punjab or the RRs or KKR this time around, I'm afraid they have players, but they need to be given a proper role. Let's take the example of Russell coming at number 7 when you're chasing 200. That's not done. You've got to push him a little ahead if you're chasing 200 runs.
Yeah, Russell. I mean, today in the 3 games, he was batting like the Russell we know. Sham, do you think he should bat up? I mean, like they still have this, dilemma about their batting order.
No, I guess, and he's made a very valid point that, because it's almost like they have a set plan and they refuse to budge from it. See, any team has to be flexible and has to change according to the demands of the situation. Today was a classic case where Russell could have been pushed up because see they're chasing 200 plus, so they need to judge. Shake things up a bit, and Russell would have been perfect if he had come up at least number 4 if he was there. I think he would have made a difference, and we might have had a different game on our hands.
Right.
Mubin, you wanted to ask something? Go ahead. Saying Mubin wanted to throw a question to you, Gautam.
Yes, Mubin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
This is about KKR, Andrew Russell. Isn't he performing not well from even from last year's? And even his bowling is too predictable, coming around the wicket and just throwing it around outside the off stump. So isn't he too predictable? AB de Villiers took him today for granted and he hit him all over the parks. This 2 overs cost him around 38 runs.
Yes, see, you can say that because every team is constantly dissecting your performance, but there is also an element of predictability about bowling in T20s. Ultimately, it's the defensive bowling in T20 which makes the difference for you. I mean, unless you can come out with a spell like Deepak Chahar, or you have this some exceptional spells. Last year, I remember Mohammad Siraj. One of his spells against KKR, I mean, that was the one which saw him through to the Indian team.
Squad.
So, yeah. So, and having said that, you need a AB to make a mincemeat out of those wide Yorkers or whatever you try and bowl off him because of the flexibility that he has. That's why he is AB. That's what. So, I think with these 2 matches, there had been plenty to talk about. But before we wrap up, just throwing on this one question. Tomorrow, Chennai are coming back in action again, and they're taking on Rajasthan Royals. So, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, again, they play at Mumbai. Chennai must be very confident after that thumping victory against Punjab, whereas Rajasthan Royal also has come on the back of a victory against Delhi. But thanks to Morris that they pulled off that victory. If you have to pick one team out of the 2 teams, obviously CSK go into the game as favorites. But mind you, RR has the firepower. They have the Samsons. They have the Morris. They need to make sure that they play according to the situation. If they find that the wicket is like today, they can go bang, bang. But when they realize there is a little bit of nip or there is something in the wicket, they need to respect that and then accordingly play according to the situation.
A lot of interesting points today. Before we wrap up, just once again, a reminder to all of you to take part in the predict the winner contest for this lovely Gulf News jackets and the subscription of Gulf News for 3 months. Follow the IPL coverage on our social media platforms, gulfnews.com for the live. And till then, see you tomorrow evening after the game. Tomorrow again, we're back to 1 game.
One more thing, Gautam.
Yes.
Very good to have Sham. He's one of the senior editors of Gulf News, like Gautam. So we need his inputs and we'll be very happy. And like Mubin, any and everybody who wins the contest gets a chance to participate in this chat show. So we say a lot of people to come and log on to gulfnews.com, predict the winner. And if you're the winner, you get a chance to come on the show.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. I mean, I think as we go on and the level of engagement also increases. So there we are, hoping to see what today we have got. The 11th match was played. So around 49 exciting matches still to go. Till then, good night and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, Shyam.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.